Spooky with Fruki podcast.
Podcast. Oh, I'm so excited about this.
I am too. Um, Need to get the music going there. That
Oh,
would be a good idea to do.
you're setting mood music?
Mood music.
Ooh.
Not sponsored by, but brought to you by Pretzel Rocks. If we were good enough to get ads, we wouldn't be doing this right now, probably. But anyway, this is the Spooky with Fruki podcast. Sorry for that up and down bouncy intro and however you want to call it, but this is our episode 0
Yeah,
of the
introductory.
podcast. Introductory and things. Ma'am, you're not allowed to be tired.
I'm sorry. I had s'mores. I
And you
don't know where
didn't
the
bring me
excuse.
one.
I'm sorry.
Anyways.
It's 1,000 miles. I wouldn't trust it after it got to you.
I wouldn't trust it either. But anyways, so our episode 0 is going to be basically an introductory episode. We're going to be taking things a little bit more seriously after this, because at that point we'll be doing actual info and like talking about the creepy things and whatnot. But do you want to help me explain what we're going to be doing here?
Well, I get to talk about, true crime. I don't know about you, but I get the real gore. Get really deep into it and how it compares to actual TV shows playing episodes about them and stuff like that. What are you gonna do?
I'm going to be talking about the paranormal side of things and how they play into TV and movies and all of that. So basically, the Spooky with Fruki podcast is going to be both of us talking about true crime in, unfortunately, our everyday lives and the paranormal happenings of our everyday lives. And how television and movies and other franchises have taken those real life stories and put them into fictional settings.
I'm sorry, I like how you said real lives. And I'm just sitting here going, if that's the case, there's a certain podcast, YouTube channel that literally just advertised something that happened the town next to me, and then on top of that, we've recorded some really spooky videos in our own apartment. So
we can talk about other YouTube channels. I mean, we can talk about what got us into doing this in the first place. Like, we love watching all things macabre and creepy and stuff like that. And what originally got us into the idea of doing this podcast was, believe it or not, surprise, surprise, the X-Files.
And yet now we're angry with the X-Files.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a later thing. But yeah, some of the other things that we watch is we watch Nuke's Top 5, which is a top 5 paranormal video channel.
Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures.
We watch not so much Ghost Adventures, but we definitely watch Ghost Hunters. There's a lot of different paranormal shows on Discovery Plus that we watch. On YouTube. Hang on, I'm getting to that. You're bouncing around.
ADHD. I'm sorry.
We'll get to it in a second. You mentioned YouTube, and I'm trying to talk about YouTube, which we will be on soon. Well, I guess already are on for the people watching this right now. Yeah, by the way, before I continue, for the audio listeners, there is a video that go along with this. We're going to try and make it, a little more audio friendly for everybody. But if we mention anything physical, it's because we're also doing a video podcast. So if you want to check that out, just follow us and subscribe over at the Spooky with Fruki YouTube channel. Because there you can actually see our faces and us act goofy towards each other. But anyway, speaking of YouTube, again, one of the other channels that we watch a lot is Mr. Ballin. Mr. Ballin, he talks about all kinds of interesting... He doesn't really do paranormal side of things, but he talks about all kinds of unfortunate stories, I guess you could say, because they're not all true crime necessarily.
I'd say unfortunate plot twists to people's lives.
That's actually a really good way to put it.
Yeah, that's what we're going to discuss. The plot twist you didn't see coming.
Yeah, so why don't you go into a couple of examples of your true crime-ness that you're going to cover?
Well, there is actually one that we love the show 911.
Mm-hmm.
And the first episode I ever watched with you was something that I forget, was it before or after it happened here, where there was a guy who ran his vehicle through a Christmas parade here.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that we watched it we looked at the air date and they were like a week apart was eerie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, I know it was not planned, but super eerie. Was not okay with that. Being stared at real creepily over there. We just normal stuff that happens every day that gets recreated. Like, there's so many different like versions of like stuff. Like my first episode, what we're gonna talk about, there's been 3 different shows that have discussed and recreated what happened. And I think that's awesome because we actually watched it in CSI the other day, which you don't know which part of the episode I was talking about, which makes it even better. Or even
Yeah. That's
remember.
an interesting thing with what we've been binge watching. Like I mentioned, we binge watch a lot of things. We binge watched basically we finished all of X Files minus the latest 2 seasons because those are kind of a little disappointing. I really feel like they should have ended it where they ended it and not have brought it back. Um,
Yeah.
but anyways, we've been binge watching CSI, like the original CSI show, and there's a lot of things that we have like listened to and looked at on YouTube, and then seeing direct similarities to the CSI show, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting and intriguing.
It also
And
kind of makes you realize that your personality quirks.
yeah,
I relate too much to Grissom and Sarah,
yeah,
and you know, it
yeah,
hurts to
yeah.
be realized. Oh, that's where I got it from.
Mhm.
Oof.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
why I like creepy. I could pass on the hissing cockroaches though episode. I didn't like that one.
No, and it's funny you mention that because there's a cockroach episode of the X Files that I have had to skip because I just can't. Um,
I'm sorry, what?
yeah, I don't think we actually watched it. I think I actually skipped it.
Bless your heart. Thank
Listen, I
the
don't.
Lord.
Whatever the phobia is called of where things are crawling under your skin,
I
blame the
don't have
mummy.
that. I have trypophobia. The
I
holes.
I do and I don't have that. Like, there's a lot of pictures and things out there that will trigger like somebody with trypophobia will be triggered by anything that has like the multi holes, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff that does and doesn't trigger me, so I'm like half trypophobia.
I would say it has to be like extra creepy. Like when they Photoshop the lily pods on a skin, that bothers me.
Mm-hmm,
Stuff like
mm-hmm.
that. If I just see normal holes, I don't care. It's the ones that have a little bit more of that texture to it, and I'm like,
Or it looks
I'll
like a
pass, but
beehive on
thanks.
someone's skin.
Yeah, I don't like that one either. I'll pass.
Yeah, no, you can for mine you can blame the mummy movie and the scarabs crawling under the skin like I I'm getting jitters thinking about it.
Love
I
the
freaking hate it.
actor, hate the creepiness.
Oh yeah, the creepiness is ugh. I watched that I was way too young to watch that and it has scarred me for life.
Hold on, I'm itchy. What about you?
Eh. Anyways, where were we?
Yes.
Well, we were talking about your examples and stuff, and I
Yep.
guess for me, going back to X Files, that's probably going to be a main thing that I'm going to be basing a lot of stuff off of. Because, while again, just like how we were watching CSI and seeing a lot of parallels, we were watching X Files, and I was seeing a lot of parallels because I have no life, and all I do is sit at my computer all day, minus eating, drinking, doing chores, and watch paranormal, I guess, docu videos. They're not really
Yeah.
documentaries, but they're people talking about, stuff that have happened. And I. Sorry, my brain just
You're good.
My train on the track just derailed, and um, um, I was watching X Files and seeing a lot of parallels from stuff that I would see on these docu videos and stuff that was happening on there. And one example I could put in like movies and stuff though is The Haunting in Connecticut. There is this show or I don't know if it's still going right now because I haven't watched it in forever, but my mom and I used to watch a show called A Haunting. And it's where people would talk about their
Yes.
paranormal happenings and they would like recreate it within the show. And one of
They're
them
so
was about a haunting in Connecticut. And then there's a movie called A Haunting in Connecticut. And me and my mom actually watched that episode and then like a few days later realized that there was a movie about it and we're like, what? Definitely the movie over dramatizes it, but it's a movie, of course they're going to.
they got to.
But it was almost like spot on with what the haunting show had said versus the movie.
I feel like we're pretty consistent with some of that stuff, at least.
Yeah.
Um, though I feel like there's out of all the shows I've watched, I think one of the only shows I know that was just full of crap was Medium.
Yeah.
Like, none of the stuff that they had really going on was possible. Like, yes, there's some stuff, but like, how you figure it out. Heck, I believe in Monk more.
I feel like I would believe in Psych more than I would Medium.
Yes. Like, I love the idea of Medium, but yeah. I just love going back and us reviewing what shows we've watched and being like, yes, I remember that from my childhood. It's like, good. It did exist. It did exist.
Did you know that the mom in Medium is also the mom in the Gypsy Road Blanchard show?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, that's the same person.
Well, I know what I'm doing after our recording.
No, the Gypsy Rose show was definitely interesting. I don't want to call it good. I mean, it's a good quality show, but as far as like the story and the entertainment value of the Gypsy Rose show, it was definitely something. Like
Heavy on something.
Yeah, it was something. But another old show that I am curious if is based off of anything is Ghost Whisperer. In regards to paranormal things.
That was a good one.
Yeah. A lot of the shows I watched growing up was with my mom. It's like I never like was clicking through the channels with the remote and like, oh hey, this sounds cool, let me watch it. It was definitely I'd go in the living room, see my mom watching something, and I'd sit down with her and start watching it.
I could blame my brothers for most of the stuff, and then I would see it like, Mom, you wanna watch it with me? And she'd be like, alright, I gotta supervise this, and then I got her addicted, and I'm like, yes, come to the dark side.
No, that's how I was with her and with my mom and Ghost Hunters.
My mom did not watch those.
Unfortunate, but yeah, literally, I was the very first episode of Ghost Hunters that I watched was. If you've ever watched the Ghost Hunters show and you see their intro and how it's this lighthouse in the middle of the water, it's like that intro picture. Like the episode where they go to that lighthouse was the very first episode that I've watched, where they see the chairs slide across the room, and I was like, holy cow, this is an awesome show. Like, mom, look at this show with me. She actually didn't watch it with me for a long time, and I remember like constantly going up to her and be like, this happened and this happened, it was so cool, and this happened. And she finally sat down with me and started watching it, and she's like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
See, TJ, the one cousin you met, he watched that stuff with me. We loved that. My mom was definitely more of like the real life stuff, like CSI and everything. Versus like paranormal, and then my brothers got me into the scary movies because you know, what's the better way to throw me into it than Child's Play?
Ugh.
At 4.
Ugh. Yeah,
We don't
there's.
talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, definitely. We definitely got a nice, intense background of binge watching some creepy shows and
Mhm.
then seeing it
Mhm.
come back in real life and getting like that deja vu moment.
Yeah, for real.
Because I think also we were watching a 911 episode and kept commenting, like, oh yeah, this happened in real life. Or like we'd watch it and then we'd go watch the videos that were like, this happened this week or top 10. And you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like the top 10 videos that we would watch on YouTube, they would be talking about stuff from like forever ago, like years ago. And then we're like, wait a minute, why does this sound so familiar though? And then we realized we just saw it on like CSI or 911 or and whatnot.
Life recreates art. Well, art recreates life, I guess, yeah. Or, my freak out the other day when we were watching Mr. Ballin, and I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I know this.
yeah, that was something that literally happened like what, a
Last summer.
city last like how far from you? Like a city over?
Ma'am, this happened like maybe a few miles from me.
Yeah, it was interesting because he even mentioned your town, and it was like, it's like gasp.
The 5 hours though is I had told you already about it. And then him mentioning it, and I'm like, wait, I already gave you most of this laydown. Now we're gonna get other facts.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm, mhm.
I mean, I think that's all we really got for an introductory.
Maybe, but we've only
What?
been going for like 17 minutes.
Yeah. How about this? What's your first experience with the paranormal? Do do.
That I do or do not remember.
Remember. I'd rather have a fresh.
I gotta really think about this for a second because I gotta. My sense of time in which events occurred when. I really gotta think. I think the earliest that I remember that I actually realized it was paranormal, um, the house that we lived in, for background for me, I grew up moving. I grew up basically in the same little corner of Arkansas, but we moved to the different cities all the time. I never stayed in one house for more than a couple years, unfortunately. But one of the houses that we lived in um, was kind of like back behind. So you see the neighborhood, and the house that we had was back behind the houses in the neighborhood. Like you really had to look to see it, or else you'd miss it. And we're by a field, wheat field, or whatever it was. And the way the house was set up, the way its layout is technically the front door was facing to the right in regards to like the way where the neighborhood was. So it was like
Yeah.
facing towards the field. And so if you're at the front door, there's the living room, which was just like big A-frame type, like tall ceiling. Then
Mm.
to the right, there was the door to the kitchen, which is a really small kind of area. And then to the left, there's a spiral staircase that goes to a room upstairs, which was my parents' master bedroom with their bathroom. And then a hallway that when you go down the hallway at the very end is the main bathroom. To the right of that, immediately, is the door to my bedroom. To the left of that is another, like, barely a hallway where you have the laundry room. It's like immediately to the left of the bathroom door. Directly across from the laundry room is the door to my brother's slash my grandma's room because they shared a room because she
Remind me
stayed
in the
with
future
us.
to have you just draw a map.
Absolutely. But at the end, there was this tiny little cube of a room that had no windows in it, and that was our gaming room. It had the big TV and everything in it. I remember distinctly I would be terrified if I had to go to my room every night. I would run down the hallway to go to my room because I did not physically see it, but it was like this mental image in the back of my mind that would always pop up of like this guy in the long brown monk robes. It's like how you see like in the movies and stuff where he's got like the shaved top of his head and the brown robes with like the rope belt or
Yeah,
whatever. Like I would see that for some reason and I don't know why.
I don't
And it
like
would
that.
always scare me.
I don't like
I didn't either.
that.
If you want the first paranormal experience that I ever had that I don't remember but my mother has told me about, I was an infant basically, or maybe toddler. I don't remember what age she told me. But the first one she said was that she had this recliner that she would set me in her lap and kind of like bounce me up and down in her lap, like playing and all that. And then she said I would like look over her shoulder and start giggling at something. And she's like, okay, this is a baby, you know, that's I'm gonna like brush it off or whatever. But I kept doing it, and it eventually kind of started weirding her out a little bit. And so she sat and she thought, and she's like, oh, I have this old antique like mirror vanity thing back in the hallway, back in our room. And she's like, let me, you know, kind of position myself real quick and see if I can see this mirror, you know, because maybe, you know, Tiny Mookie is looking at her reflection and giggling at herself. So she
Tiny
moves.
Mookie. You stayed tiny.
Baby Mookie, okay?
Love you.
Anyways, so she positions herself kind of where I was to see if she could see her reflection. And no matter how she moved around, she could not see the mirror at all. So that kind of weirded her out a little bit. And she described it as I was literally like intently looking over her shoulder, like I was looking at somebody and giggling. She likes to think it's my grandpa, because he died before I was born. Uh, Fast forward like a couple years where I'm old enough to sleep in the bed next to her. She said that there were several nights where I would like scoot up close to her and I would, and again, she's like, okay, this is a baby, basically, a toddler, you know, kind of brushing it off. But she said it would get to the point where I was like forcibly trying to put myself underneath her as if like something was trying to touch me and I was trying to get away from it. So after several nights of this happening, she said that what she did was she sat up in bed and shouted, whatever the heck you are, go away and leave my daughter alone. And she said after that, nothing happened. Like, I slept fine after that.
That's so creepy.
I've had several more experiences since then, but if I'm going to talk about that, I'll have to have a whole podcast episode to myself.
Spooky with just Smooky instead of Fruki.
So, since I was doing the paranormal side of things and you asked that question, what is your first true crime thing that got you interested in it?
Do you want an experience I had in real life or just something that piqued my interest because I heard about it?
The very first thing that piqued your interest.
So, I think I've always just kind of been interested in the macabre and deranged stuff like that. But I think what really solidified it, but also is also technically paranormal at the same time. So, as a hairstylist, I've worked all over. You know, I worked in the mall. I've told you that.
Mm-hmm.
And in our salon, we have a radio. We would literally have to either have a remote to turn it on, which I bought one long after we had it, or we would take the broom and click it on. We never changed the radio station because we just left it. It was just a hassle to climb up there. Well, we started having the issue where the radio station, you had to physically change the dial, would move itself, but the dial wasn't moving.
Interesting.
And we're like, what the hell? Because it would never actually go to a radio station, it would go to static.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually we got the remote, controlled it from there, and then the volume started fixing itself. And like moving up and down. And we're like, okay, maybe it's just breaking. But we started playing the game of, oh, hey, what if it's a ghost? So we'd make a joke, hey, can you move it to country today? And the radio station would change.
Wow.
So we just, I forget what we called them for a while. But I'm like, you know what? I live in around Madison, Wisconsin. Like, okay, there's murders, okay? We know that. So I start looking around the area. My employee at the time mentioned, oh yeah, there's a guy that overdosed in the loading bay of JCPenney's. And I'm like, okay, I don't think it's him. Two, like, this guy, you know, he would have no history here. And it's not, like, to me, like, harsh enough. Like, he did it himself, essentially. Well, it turns out a serial killer had visited Madison in the 1970s. And he had come here to visit a judge because, surprisingly, he was actually really good for women's rights and didn't like the judge rule against a rape case where it said the woman was not raped when she actually was. So he was actually on his way to kill her at her house. Not great. Well, instead, he was at the mall, and we have like a road that goes around the mall. He saw a biracial couple, black man with a white woman, and he hit their car. And the guy, got out of his car, and he walked over, and he shot through the door the black man and killed him. The white woman started screaming and got out, and he shot her, and she died half out of the car. And he left. Now, he wasn't caught for like another 10 years when he went to go blow up like a mosque or synagogue down in like Kentucky area. Yeah.
Damn.
And then he confessed to it about it. And I had looked it up, and I realized no one, because his family couldn't afford it, I'm pretty sure he was just cremated, because the white woman, she has, you know, a tombstone, like, you know, the headstone and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's nowhere. I can't find him anywhere. He never, I don't think, got that memorial service, because she had a bunch of stuff. People like did stuff for her.
Yeah.
Nothing for him. And so I found the exact picture of, they have like the distance, and the same hotel's still there, like way off in the distance. Yes, it's been renamed and like fixed up, but I found the exact location in the parking lot. I put some flowers there. It's now where a restaurant is. But I'm like, so I started using his name, and I'm like, oh, is this you? You know, like, he turned up the volume, and it would mess with the radio, and I'm like, you know what? If you got good taste in music, might as well we'll leave you be. So, but I definitely think like that was like the thing that solidified me with crime, was just like, holy crap, like the little things that connected. Because it's like, I grew up, Ed Gein and Jeffrey Dahmer were our bedtime stories as jokes, you know, because you're so used to it. The fact that one of my clients goes, oh, my grandpa worked with Jeffrey Dahmer at the same baking place, and the company gave away baking sheets one year because they're like, hey, we're getting new ones. Jeffrey Dahmer used that exact same baking sheet that this grandpa still has. Like, not the, obviously, like the same one, but from the same place. So, and we know what Jeffrey Dahmer did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I hope it's not one that Jeffrey Dahmer used, because that's a little gross.
But it's cool, like the little connections there and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, definitely neat.
Like, you don't think about, and it's just like, that's uncomfortable.
Yep.
No, thank you.
Nope.
But yeah, it's kind of what got me into both. So definitely more, you know, the crime person, but that little twist of paranormal in there, and I'm like, I just don't think he ever got what you know, the recognition he deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Just sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I kind of got right now too.
I realized we never really introduced ourselves either, by the way.
We sure didn't.
We are spicy meatballs.
Hey Muki, post-production, move this introduction to the beginning of the video / podcast audio. I'm totally gonna leave that in, but move it anyway. So, Cut here. So, who are we?
Well, I'm Freddy, and
And
you're Muki.
I am Muki, yes. And together we make.
Fruki.
Yep, we sure do.
What are we to each other though? That's the big question.
Oh, yes, that is the big question. You see, I am married, but
So
not to
am I.
Freddy.
Scandalous.
No, we're a polyamorous couple, and she is my fiance, waifu, partner, the love of my life, along with two other dudes.
The other dudes. Two other PPs that hang out. That's, let's be honest, that's really what they are. I'm gonna ignore it over there. I love you. I got a wave. That's all that matters. But yeah, and we love creepiness.
Yeah, we love the creepy, we love the macabre, we love true crime, and yeah.
And here we are.
Cut back to where we're supposed to be now.
Oh, we are special individuals.
Oh, yes, we are.
But
We definitely might have to do an extra, like, recording of, like, an intro and be like, I'm Mookie, I'm
and I'm
Freddy.
Freddy. And this is Spooky
Spooky
with Fruki.
Fruki. I
You
fucked
must
that
say
up.
Mookie.
I fucked that up so bad.
There's two of us, okay?
I
Love
know.
me.
I know.
Love
It's
me.
the Uki. It's the UKI.
No, I understand. You don't love me.
Of course I love you.
But I think we're good for introduction though, that's for sure. And
Yeah.
we'll you guys get to hang out with me in the first one for my true crime because what we're doing we're rotating it every other. I get my true crime and you get the paranormal.
Pretty much.
Take
Every
over for your
odd
people.
episode of the podcast is going to be True Crime with Freddy. And every even episode of the podcast is going to be paranormal with moi, the Mookie. And the way that this is going to work out is we're going to record these every other Sunday. Maybe occasionally do a live stream here and there.
I think maybe for our 10th one we should maybe do it just kind of be like, hey guys, 10 episodes in.
Like do it every 10 or every like general milestone or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. But yeah, we're going to record these every other Sunday and hopefully get them out by the end of the week. I haven't decided what day that will be yet, but I will probably be the one editing and whatnot. Unless, Freddy, you want to take a gander at it?
I can try.
Yeah.
I believe in myself. Ish.
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 Yeah.
But, yeah. Thank you for listening in on the intro to Spooky.
With Fruki.
Okay, I was like, get it right this time. There's two of us.
Yeah. Just for a quick bonus thing, though, I don't know if you have anything, but there will be like visuals and stuff possibly in the future. So, if you're listening to this / watching it on YouTube, leave a comment wherever you can and let us know. Would you prefer to see the visuals on the YouTube video and watch it that way? Or would you want us to do mostly Twitter posts for the audio listeners? I mostly get that idea because I also listen to a spooky paranormal podcast called Red Web, which is through the Rooster Teeth community. And if you don't listen to that and you love the spooky macabre just like I do, definitely give it a listen / watch. Also on YouTube, I'm kind of playing off of them just a little bit with the whole Twitter versus YouTube thing. So let us know what you would prefer us to do. We can do both, where we'd have visuals on YouTube and put them on Twitter.
Or I plan to run on Instagram for us, so we'll for sure be posting there.
That too. But yeah, leave a comment wherever you can and let us know. And obviously, subscribe, like, help us.
Comment, share.
Like, subscribe, comment, share. Yeah, just help us, help us, reach our good target audience. If you know people that like spooky things just like us, tell them about it. We are, obviously, this is our first quote-unquote episode, so It's gonna be a little rusty, but we're gonna, do our best to do better.
Practice makes perfect.
Yep. But that is gonna do it for Fruki tonight.
Yep.
And as always, everybody, or not as always, start off, everybody. Stay spooky, my friends.
Oh, really? That's what you're going with?
Do you have something better?
Don't let the plot twist get to you.
We'll work on it. Bye, everybody.